Hello everybody, welcome back to my television review series, Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story television review. You know how we do it on these. I will give you my overall grade and impressions, I will give you my plot synopsis and character development, and we'll discuss major themes. First impression, terrible title, Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Is that like a subtitle? Like literally just commenting on like the actual production piece. I think it's a bad title. They're just Dahmer and then saying Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Just say Dahmer one time and I think of a better title. But a Netflix original series. Got some culturalistic buzz. It was my big interest. Again, I saw it buzzing a little bit on Twitter and things. But honestly, overall great impressions. I'll give you my impressions first, then the grade, then past that. If you've not seen the series or would like to, you're going to want to shut off the video then. After the grade, so we'll be discussing plot, synopsis, and character development after the impressions. First impression was the title was kind of sloppy. Second, just the definition. So, because again, Jeffrey Dahmer, I guess let's read the intro for the thing, for the TV show. It says Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. So it doesn't even say, when I Google it, it doesn't even say, it just says Monster. So again, the title is all over the place on this. The story of one of the most notorious serial killers in the United States, largely told from the points of view of his victims. And so, not a big introduction. But again, I knew the name, and again, serial killer, but again, didn't really know much of the history. So again, to me, the draw of the show was the historical relevance and then the buzzing on Twitter and stuff. But again, there's kind of two sides to serial killer. There's some people that are like fascinated, interested things. There's some mind-bending psychology going on. When, as a psychiatrist, the actual thing is it's just like normal, natural development with perversion, and with this one happened to be sexual perversion. So it's really just, to me, serial killing or this type of murder is really just more of like stagnation of personal development with a desire to learn. Like throughout the show, we talked about making walking zombies, which is obviously fucking perverse, but it's no real different than like the motivation of like a surgeon, like a doctor, right? Cutting open a body, learning how to help somebody. Jeffrey Dahmer's going to make a living zombie by drilling a hole in someone's head and pouring hydrochloric acid on him. It's really the same type of motivation, just obviously illiteracy and perversion with murder and offending consent, or taking someone else's life. So to me, there's no real spooky, goofy what's going on, and there's no real like interest of like this is interesting or facilitating, and there's no like I'm looking at the reviews, it's like 94% of Google people liked it, 53% of like Rotten Tomatoes or something liked it. So to the people that don't like it, or they're just saying terrible action, I can't watch this, which is also under development of emotion. Like as a detective, as a psychiatrist, you're not going to have a case study or a crime scene and be like, I don't like to look at that. So it's just like, those are the people that don't like it. And on the converse side, listen, really like this show is more of like, people that have some sort of fetish, right? And towards the end of the season, he's got serial killers get like fan mail, and they get nudes and stuff. And so it's just like, to me, all sides of that is just underdeveloped. The actual serial killing is just perversion and stagnation of personal learning with some sexual weirdness in there. But so overall, again, I will give it a B-. I wouldn't even say entertaining. And now forgetting the actual terrible acts, again, just a lot of insecurity. Definitely the production value is meant to be like this menacing, scary. How could Jeffrey Dahmer ever get to be like this? And it's just like perversion and stagnation of personal learning with sexual weirdness thrown in there. So B-, really more interesting for the historical aspects to me. Because I knew the name, really didn't know the history of the case at all. The actual production of the show, and trying to be ominous, and again, probably is pretty historically accurate, but just a lot of narrative, just a lot of, was it the mom taking pills when he was a kid? Was it the dad helping him cut up animals? Was it this? Was it that? It's just like, no, individuals make individual choices. If they're in a stagnated society and they have a way to stagnate their own personal learning, they're still going to want to learn in a perverse fashion, again, trying to make walking zombies. So B- really for the historical accuracy, and I did not know the case. If not, I would have been in the C range, which just doesn't really do anything for me. I'd rather go watch gangbangers or hustler type shit. So if you have not seen this show and want to watch it, that was when you want to shut off the video. So I guess we'll just do the major themes. You can still watch this, but I just want to get to the definition of serial murder. And so again, this is another case where again we don't have clear definitions, and there's a whole article. I'm literally on the FBI website right now, which they obviously don't do their jobs ever, but there's like a whole pamphlet of the definition of serial murder. So serial, not like morning cereal, but repetitive, and then murder, killing. Again, killing, you have killing, which can be defensive, right? If someone breaks in my house and I body bag your shit, I killed you, but I didn't murder your ass. I killed your ass, I didn't murder your ass. Murder's offensive, murder's aggressive, murder violates somebody else's consent or right to life. Killing can be defensive. So you have killing, then you have murder, then serial murder. And then just reading off to some of the, but they have like a whole article trying to arrive at a definition. That's how, when we're talking about these podcasts of all these FBI agents that are sharp fellows and they're sharp folks, this is how sharp they are. They need a 13-page sectioned document to try to arrive at a definition, and they still can't. Real sharp people over there. But it basically says, how many people you've murdered and the times, and basically like the time in between. But yeah, I don't see how this doesn't apply to every soldier. Every single soldier out there, 2 to 10 bodies with a cooling off period. So you get deployed, and then you come back, and then you go back and murder another family in Vietnam. That you guys, I love your definitions, guys. I love the definition of FBI. Serial murderers, serial killers are basically everybody in the fucking law enforcement, everybody in the Army, everybody in the Marines, everybody in the Navy SEALs. That's serial killing by your definitions. Seriously. Well, what? If as long as it's for the good thing? Yeah, but if you went to Vietnam and dropped some bombs on a family over here that was farmers, and you went in there and shot a family up, how's that good? Oh, well, our country told us to do it. Yep, as long as enough people commit crimes, nobody gives a fuck. So, again, just another serial, repetitive murder, drop-down killing, aggressive killing, offensive, violating the consent or right to life of another person, doing it in a repetitive manner. But really, the scrap that, the motivation, biological motivation is again, stagnation of personal learning. It's Jeffrey Dahmer pouring acid into someone's brain, trying to do science experiments. Perverse as fuck, killing people, that's really his motivation, he's just illiterate. So I thought that was funny, but again, it's not a unique occurrence, right? If someone's violating your right, you need to defend yourself, you should kill that person. You shouldn't murder anybody ever. So it's like, what other definition do we have to have? It's like you need to change your behavior. So getting into the show, starts off as a young kid. He goes around, again, doesn't really make friends. His mom is, you have Joyce Dahmer and Lionel Dahmer, his parents. They're fighting heavily in the beginning, always screaming at each other. And again, just forgetting the actual story as a piece of entertainment, as a piece of television to watch. Get a lot of the insecurity, the family yelling at each other, wondering what's wrong with Jeffrey. Towards the end of the show, when they're all, we need Glenda Cleveland throughout the show is Jeffrey's neighbor who lives in the apartments where he does a lot of the killing. Catherine Dahmer is his grandmother. You have John Wayne Gacy, who's another serial killer reference in the show at the end of the series. You have David Dahmer, who is his brother, which you hear nothing of him. John Balsarac is the officer that lets one of the Laotian boy back, and then you have police chiefs and other minor characters. But he starts off the show, and again, Joyce Dahmer is taking tons and tons of pills while she's pregnant with Jeffrey. Her and Lionel fight a bunch. Jeffrey overhears it a bunch, and the first thing that Jeff really shows interest in is cutting up roadkill with his father. So another theme in there is dissecting animals going to cause serial killing. No, again, it's the personal behavior. People will escalate through that, right? Torturing animals, then torturing people. But it's the human motivation of not growing up, being illiterate as fuck, and then saying my right to selfishness overrides your right to live, or just to not be assaulted or abused in some way. So no, I don't think cutting up roadkill, kind of a weird hobby, taxidermy in general. I don't think it doesn't really bother me, but again, kind of a weird hobby, but I definitely don't think it has real influence. But more so, again, just learning the insecurity, again, more so of like learning the behavior of just, if the mother has a bunch of insecurities and it's not going to influence Jeffrey's behavior of how that insecurity manifests, but he's going to learn that he can be insecure, or like anybody. Again, this is the criticism of every behavior. For Jeffrey Dahmer, this is how everybody learns behavior anyway, and then just stagnate to a certain point. And again, how many people how many murderers are out there and how many serial killers are out there. So there's a huge drop down from the numbers of murderers, one-off gangbangers, someone doing this, someone doing that, some real personal interactions versus blanket, let's go walk down the street, pick a random person and kill them. It's a substantial subset of the people that kill people. So it's really just perversion and illiteracy more so. And again, learning the general behavior, but not like a bunch of pills I don't think biologically would have modified the brain in some way to go, nature, nurture, it's definitely going to be nurture. Nature, your genetics for sure, for your structure of your body, how tall are your skin tone. But again, nature versus nurture, how about speech, right? You're going to learn whatever skin tone you are, whatever DNA you have, you're going to learn the local accent or slang of the people around you, literally learning behavior. So, and then past that, it's the personal restriction of development. So they start cutting up animals. His first, you get the first episode is him getting arrested. Basically, he at the apartments with the Glenda Cleveland. So there's 3 main locations: the childhood home. He goes to live with his grandmother for a while, and the apartment. First episode this season. The piece jumps around a bunch throughout the entire season, so it's hard to be chronological. But younger days, cutting up the animals with Dad. When he's a teenager, probably, I don't know, about 17, 18 years old, that's when he kills his first person. Mom's out of the house for good. She just packs up with David Dahmer and just leaves. She just dips out, and Lionel also dips out as well. So Jeffrey's kind of at his parents' house, childhood house, without really anybody there. Picks up a hitchhiker that he says is going to take him to a concert later on with his friends. They start working out, literally bench pressing, and then the dude's getting anxious, like, hey man, I'm going to miss the thing with my friends, the concert with my friends, you said you're going to take me. Jeff's like, hey man, just hang out, have a couple more brewskis. I used to say brewskis. And then the dude wants to leave and he gets agitated and he clocks him over the head with a weight, and he's kind of rolling around on the floor unconscious, and then Jeff decides to finish him off. So I think he just suffocates that one, hides him under the parents' house for the night, and then cuts up the body, breaks up all the bones, just trying to get rid of the bones or something, just trying to discard the body. But yeah, one of the big things that struck me the whole thing is just how sloppy of a fucking criminal he was the whole entire time. So it's like, how did Jeffrey Dahmer get away with this mega criminal mindset? It's like, probably just the illiterate cops and everyone just being fucking stupid more so than him being a great criminal. Jesus. But so that happens. Again, the first episode is just a dude escaping. His typical thing is he goes out to a club. He's homosexual, so he drugs their drinks, just goes to a club, drugs a drink, brings someone back to their apartment, drugs them so they can't feel anything, and then performs experiments on them and kills them. So, yeah, really just a perversion of learning. What are some other notable ones? There was a deaf dude that he kind of becomes friends with for a little bit, and then I think he is for, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, a month or something. But it kind of looks like he may not kill this dude. But I think between the one he kills at his parents' house and the next one is 9 years or something. So during that time, he goes to Ohio State, OH. They let all the good kids enroll in that school. But he gets kicked out there. He goes to the Army, where he gets kicked out there he gets kicked out of OSU for just having a terrible GPA, not going to class. He gets kicked out of the Army. He basically learns about sedatives. And he sedates one dude and cuddles up to him, and he's just it's just a weird sexual perversion with murdering inclinations for learning. And so he just cuddles up to the dude, and just the dude at the Army, I don't know if he tries to have sex with him or rapes him or not. He literally just cuddles up with the dude. And so he gets kicked out of the Army for that. And then he comes back, and now he's living with the grandma for a while. He kills 3 or 4 people there. Again, same type of deal, just having drugging people, bringing them back to the grandma's house, and grandma just being willfully ignorant. It seems like, again, as it was presented in the show. So you have that going on. Let me make sure I'm still rolling. But he has a close run-in at the grandmother's house. Basically, the grandma, so when he's drugging him, he drugs one of the victims, and then the grandma comes downstairs and basically I'm going to sit with him the whole night. So he has a close run-in with that one, knowing very well that the dude, when he wakes up, he will know that Jeffrey drugged him. But what she does do, so they put him on a bus. He's like groggy. Once he gets off the bus, he gets found unconscious, overdosing. Goes to the police. The police go to Jeffrey's house. They question him. I think there's body parts in the grandma's house at this point. But nothing comes of it. And so again, some race aspects to it. Again, I think the majority of this was in like the 60s to 80s. And I think Jeffrey Dahmer died at like 32 or ish, young 30s. But so I think the 60s to the 80s is when this occurred. So that happens. Then he goes, and then after he does hide a human head in like his grandmother's memory box for his father. So he's another close call there where his dad wants to see what's in the box because they're all starting to get suspicious. His grandmother finds an altar for the devil, another perversion of learning and narrative. Again, heaven and hell, good and evil, it's just narrative and storytelling. So again, you just see these people kill a bunch of people, then start talking about Jesus and God and altar, and now it's like this evil or great mystery of psychology, and it just isn't. And so builds an altar, gets kicked out of the grandmother's house for that, and then the rest of the show is pretty much him at the apartments. So the killings is pretty repetitive. He just goes, drugs people, brings them back, kills them, or sedates them, and performs experiments on them until they die. And then cuts them up. Then he eats them. He does eat them a little bit. And again, that's another facet. Obviously, a lot of people, it's obviously gross, but cannibalism, but like hunting. That it is you kill something and you eat it. That's a very primitive thing. So again, it's just perversion of just normal functions because of illiteracy and because of personal stagnation. And so he cuts people up, he eats them, he drinks the blood. I think they said he would stop cutting them up to jerk off on them or suck off their dead wieners. So again, just sexual perversion obviously sounds gross, but it's just like weird shit. What is this weird shit? There's a word for this, weird shit. And so he just does weird shit, but again, the biological motivation is underdeveloped, insecurity, illiteracy, and then selfishness and perversion. It's really what the fuck it is. And so as a consumer, just watching a TV show, forgetting its actual real story doesn't do it. It's not interesting to me as entertainment or thing. B- for historically interesting. So he does that. What else happens? So then probably like towards Glenda, she's always calling the cops. She's called the cops several times. There's the example with the Conorak was a Laotian, but a 14-year-old boy basically. This is the part that's just mind fucking. So this guy, he literally drilled a hole in his head, sedated him, drilled a hole in his head, poured acid into him, and was bleeding out of his butthole, and escaped the apartment. And so he's running around. The cops find him, and he's unable to talk because he just got garage basement lobotomized. And so the cops take the dude back to the apartment. Glenda's like, this is clearly a boy. Check his ID. And the cops, because they're all homosexual, and so the cops, you can tell, like they played the actual telephone transcript of Glenda Cleveland calling John Balsarac, and you can tell John Balsarac doesn't want to mess with boyfriend thing is the tag phrase of here's the weird insecurity, here's a narrative of we can stop protecting and serving because two dudes fucking each other, it's super weird. And again, as a straight male watching, and like the movie Bros just dropped and it all flopped or something. Again, I would go watch a gay movie. It's a super straight male, wouldn't care at all. Again, doesn't like seeing two dudes kiss on the screen does not bother me in any fucking way. But seeing people reject their duties and their sworn oaths it's a criminal offense. It's a criminal offense. These dudes they want to go watch Bros. Too fucking gay. But the reason I don't go watch Bros is because the movie theater's too far away these days. So 20 minutes in the movie theaters, I haven't been there since. not because Bros is gay, but in general, seeing homosexual stuff on TV doesn't bother me in any fucking way. But I'm sure a lot of boomers out there, I don't like the scary, weird stuff. but again, seeing it on the show is just mind fucking. So the police return basically someone who got lobotomized back to the serial killer Jeffrey, and so he gets arrested. Again, the very first episode is him getting arrested. He actually goes to jail, probably about the 6th or 7th episode. In jail, he starts getting fan mail and groupies. Again, just those are people that just fantasize that they're also illiterate and underdeveloped. They might not take the step forward and go be a serial killer themselves, but they find it interesting or cool or fascinating. So again, just more underdeveloped insecurities from the fan people as well. So he starts getting fan mail, titty pics, Shit, how the fuck can a serial killer get titty pics and I can't? What the fuck is this? Tragedies. But, so he gets stabbed one time in prison. He survives that. He gets baptized. That's when you learn about John Wayne Gacy, who was another, like a 60-year-old white dude with, like, I don't know, killed like 33 underage boys. And he gets killed by lethal injection. Jeffrey Dahmer was in Milwaukee, so I don't think there was the death penalty there. And so he becomes a Christian, and the dad writes a book, which doesn't really sell well. He tries to get a TV show or a movie deal. Doesn't really, I don't know if that works. Just typing in literally Dahmer to get the cast on this one, seemed like there was a bunch of other stuff made about him. And so there's like a major theme in the show is can the families of the victims suing for profits or revenue from the sales. So legally, what do I think about that? Again, I don't know if there's any precedent, just going off intuition. Suing, someone does something terrible, do the victims have entitlement to the proceeds? I don't know. Like I don't know if there's precedent. I don't know. My intuition doesn't have anything great to say about that. So question mark. I don't know. But it's definitely a major theme, and they sue, and they definitely get like the damages allotted to the victims as well. So my question is, if that's true, then like are all these other shows like Dahmer, this one, and all the other movies made about it, and they also get, is it like still ongoing? Like they still get the proceeds? So again, legally, it's kind of an interesting topic to me. I don't know. But so he's in jail. He gets stabbed once, survives that. Gacy gets put to death, and then there's another inmate who's like, he has a minor role, but he ends up killing one day on work duty. He comes in and he beats Jeffrey Dahmer to death with a pipe. And so I don't know if that's true. I think I read online. It just happened to pop up on Reddit again, probably because of the cultural buzz of the show. But if he was stabbed or if he was beaten to death with a blunt object. But for anyway, he's dead. And then like the last kind of thing is, well, not the last thing, but they discuss, he had a will of having his entire body cremated. Is there any special thing going on in the brain that you're going to find? No. Just no. And so, again, nurture, not nature on those types of behaviors, certainly. But again, that's the fascination of the illiterate scientist. Oh, we got to find out what this crazy brain thing is. And it's definitely not everybody else's shitty behavior. And he just took it one step further. It's definitely not that. It's something biological. Nope. So the brain ends up getting cremated. The judge rules for it to be destroyed, and then Glenda Cleveland is, advocating for the building, the apartment building, to get destroyed. And in the show, the residents, they all have to go down to the lobby to sleep together because they're haunted by Jeffrey Dahmer. So again, like being haunted by serial killers, thing is some sort of fascination. And so just simply I'll just finish the synopsis. And then so the last thing is Glenda, petitioning the city to put up a memorial or a park there or something, and nothing really coming of it from the city. And so that's really the end of the show. And then they show all of the victims. So I think there were 17 total, and I think that John Wayne Gacy had like 33. But again, people have like fascinations with like serial killers, like who killed more, who killed this. It's all the same behavior, and it's all just perverse insecurity and selfishness. It's really not interesting or confusing or ominous to me in any fucking way. So B- really for the history lesson, and just simply forgetting the terrible acts as a piece of something entertainment to watch didn't really do much for me. So B-. Again, the major themes, the behavior. The legal things of selling the books, the fan people, and then, but really, like I said, the Glenda Cleveland character, again, they're all being like spooked out and very scary. It's just not. So it's like, as a piece of actual cinema, just the tonality of the piece is just a lot of insecurity and narrative to me. Probably very historically accurate, just didn't do a lot for me as a piece of television or cinema. So overall, B-, enjoyed it really for the history and the cultural buzz. So if you want to go watch it, again, we've already broken it down pretty good, so you probably turned off the video by now. But thank you for watching my review of Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story review. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.